Hey, what's up, everybody? It's your boy Pixbane here, doing something completely different yet again, for the umpteenth time. I just can't stick with one thing and keep making videos. Though that news stuff seems to be getting some traction and attention, so I might continue that. I probably will. As you probably can tell from my voice, I'm not doing so well. And you're probably wondering what the hell is F-Zero playing in the background for, and why is this motherfucker so bad at F-Zero? Well, I just felt like going to some story time. A story about one of my very good friends named Jack. What made me want to tell this story about Jack is, well, my life isn't going so well right now, and when he was before he passed, his life wasn't going so well either. And much worse than mine. Mine's just some petty things, but I'm a melodramatic motherfucker. So I started thinking about that, and I started thinking about Jack in general. But then, I try to cheer myself up. I try to be a jubilant person, generally. So then I started thinking about probably the best time I've ever had playing video games, and that was with F-Zero GX for the GameCube. You see, a long time ago, way before even Jack passed, we would hang out and we would play GameCube games. We'd play things like Mario Party, and we'd play like things like Mario Sunshine, and just fuck around, just fucking stupid shit like that. And one day he started talking about snaking in F-Zero GX, and I was like, I don't really know what that is. This was before I knew about people like, I think, Crazy Game Nerd, the guy who does the F-Zero runs. So I was like, what's that? And then he's like, I'm not entirely sure. It's some method to get incredible, like, fucking really high levels of speed in F-Zero, how it's meant to be played. And so my younger brother and myself and Jack were like, oh, okay, let's look into this. So on our own free time, we looked into like what snaking was. We watched a couple videos on our own time. And the next time we got together, we decided we're going to try to do our best snaking. And it all started from there. So naturally, we started doing it, and we were fucking awful at it. And I mean, probably worse than what obviously worse than what you're seeing in the video right now. Because it's kind of like riding a bike and then kind of not. Like, this video you're watching is literally me just starting up the game and trying to snake after 4, 5, maybe even 6 years? Wow, it's been fucking 6 years. It's been a long time. So that's like 6 years of just me not doing anything related to F-Zero and then coming back and trying to snake again. But yeah, it comes back to you. But like, man, dude, it was rough those first few days of just messing around in those hot Arizona summer nights, just snaking. So, this is a story. There's a moral to it, but so we would spend pretty much any time we hung out just for playing for hours, and I mean fucking hours, in F-Zero. We'd look at videos and strategies from different sources. We were just trying our best to just top one each other's scores. We would basically say, okay, you got 3 lives, and then we would trade off. So we do this like round robin type of thing. And the cool thing about F-Zero is, well, you can obviously save ghosts of your best times, but when you're doing like a single session of time attack for a certain course, you would basically have the ghost of the person who's got the fastest time. So basically you could just be like, okay, Jack's got the best time, so I gotta fucking beat that ghost. So you have like the knowledge of like where they are and related to the time and whatnot. So just, we just would practice. And to be honest, I was the worst out of the 3. Something with my younger brother and Jack, they just instantly got it. Maybe because they're younger, and they were younger at the time, so like their brains were more like, I don't know, liquid, and they could crystallize information better, or something like that. But like I struggled, like in those early days, like they stomped my times no matter what. But the moral here is that I spent so much of my free time when I wasn't at school or doing work or anything like that. I spent my free time practicing and practicing and practicing, and then eventually I started catching up to their times, and then eventually I started tying their times. Like, not really tying, you mean tying something in F-Zero when you get like milliseconds going on. It's pretty difficult to get an exact tie, but we're getting close to each other's scores. But eventually, you know, I started passing them. It's because I just kept putting in that extra time. I can't really explain how that feels, to know that your general ability with something is so much lower than other people, and then just putting all that effort and training into it and just getting to that level of those other people. And they're obviously improving as well. And so it was that competition spirit between the three of us trying to get the best motherfucking times in F-Zero. It was so much fun that those months. And I mean months. We played this for months. And I'm willing to bet were like the top 10%, like in our peak, top 10%. I don't know if I think that seems conservative of people who probably ever played F-Zero. We were probably higher than that if we're going to count everyone who's ever played F-Zero. I would say probably top 3%. We were nowhere near people like Crazy Game Nerd. I mean, like that exponential curve for like skill required to get those times, we were nowhere near them. Like the distance between, I would say, like let's say 5%, like top 5% and the top 4% was huge. So I'm not saying that we were the best, we weren't, but I'd say that we got really fucking good at the Mute City levels, like Twist Road and Sonic Oval, and like just like obviously they're the easier tracks, but those were the ones where we first started, and we would try other tracks and we'd get decent times on them. But those two tracks, the AX Sonic Oval and Twist Road for Mute City and the like Ruby Cup, whatever the first cup is, those two were the ones we started on because they're immediately easier, and we just played the shit out of them. So I was remembering this like golden age of my youth with my younger brother and Jack, and I just said, you know what? I'm gonna pop that motherfucker in. I'm gonna use my really bad capture card, my Halpog. That's why it looks like shit. If you've watched any of my capture stuff from a long time ago or my live streaming stuff, you would see it looks like garbage because it's the Halpog that I got. It's not an actual capture card, it's like an external thing. So I popped that up. I wanted to record it. I wanted to like use my very first, like I think 2 or 3 hours back playing it to show you guys what's going on, and I didn't want to edit the video down too much or at all so that you can see all the mistakes. But I wanted to see if I could still ride the bike, and the answer is no and yes. It took a while for me to get back going, but like motherfucker, I forgot everything that I hated about snaking and power sliding and everything. Because there's some basic things you should know if you don't already know about F-Zero. And there's like basically 2 categories of going for speed. There's the snaking ones where you would build a really fucking heavy car and you have to go max acceleration, and then you have to alternate by holding left shoulder button and left, right shoulder button and right, left shoulder button and left, right shoulder button and right. And you basically, that fucks the game up, and people debate whether if it's like legitimately programmed in the game to be that way because the staff ghosts at times use it, or if it's just a bug that the staff ghosts the staff basically just abused. And then there's power sliding where I try to do it in the video, you probably will see it, but I think you hold down left and right, because it's like all memory, it's like not memory, it's like hand memory for me. It's like you hold down left and right to initiate your car to lose traction, and then you hold the direction you wanted, like drift. So if it's a left turn, like Sonic Oval, you hold left, and then you hold right trigger, and that causes your car to get incredible amounts of speed. But I obviously forgot exactly how to do it, and like you have to spam the like orb attack to get out of it. Otherwise, if you drift it too long, or if you don't do it just right, you get a fuck ton of speed and then you immediately lose it. So you have to get out of that by using the side B attack so that you straighten your car out. Or side orb attack. I bound it to B. It's like, I think it's normally X, but I bound it to B, and like in the video you're gonna see me just like fuck around with buttons, trying to figure out what the fuck did I bound the stupid attack to? And then like something that like it's very strange is obviously some fucking bug in the game, but if you hit a yellow boost pad on the far left or the far right, like on the edge, you get actually a double boost out of that. So you want to abuse that. But yeah, so I'm way off like target. I was talking about the two categories. So there's the snaking category, and then there's the like the pure speed category where you don't snake because like it's like an abuse of the system or whatever, and they wanted to separate them. So the other category is basically you want to abuse the deceleration mechanic of the game, and you want to pick a car that has an incredibly high speed and good boost like Fat Shark, and you want to be it's a weird mechanic. So you want to get to a certain speed, and it's different for a lot of different cars, and I don't fucking remember any of this because it's like 6+ years ago, but there's a spreadsheet of the maximum speed that you get to, or the decay speed that you get to if you hold down A. And you want to hold down A until you get to that point. But if you hit a boost pad or you boost, you want to let go of A because your speed decays far slower if you don't have your hand on the accelerator. So you want to accelerate to the certain speed, the decay speed, like the home speed, and then you want to boost and then let go, boost and let go. And then other things in that you want to make sure, I think you have to hold up and then down when you're going on a jump so that you get some height and then you immediately go down and you get an immense amount of speed. So these are all things that we, Jack, my younger brother, and myself, that's all things we practiced. And like it started coming back to me like in trickles. Like I would say, like, oh my god, I kind of remember how to power slide, and you'll probably see me get like some really good power slides and then immediately drop them or hit a wall. I hit a lot of fucking walls in this. Oh man. And so after playing it for about 3 hours from like the first time in 6 years, I remembered, as I said, all the fucking things I hated about it, but it was like a passionate hate, you know? It's like remembering all the struggles that you went through to get somewhere and all the shit that it caused. And I know I'm talking about fucking F-Zero, but I think it's like an allegory to like life in general. And I don't want to seem, oh, that's fucking deep. It's just, I don't know, it's the way I see it. So like when you play this for so long and you're snaking, it fucking takes a toll on your hands. At least like my hands, Jack's hands, and my younger brother's, maybe because we weren't obviously the top like 4, 3, 2, 1% of the game. So maybe our technique or our fundamentals of it were a little bad. Even though we were getting some really fucking good times on Sonic Oval. I think you'll see some of those times, but those in the video, but those aren't the best ones. Our best ones are on some memory card that is lost forever. It belongs to Jack, and I'll never see what those were, but those were our best times, and they're lost forever probably. But anyway, the shit that bothers you is like when you're doing this, you're going left, right, and alternating the triggers, the left, right. Your middle fingers or however you rest the controller on your hands, the GameCube controller, it starts to motherfucking chafe. You develop extreme blisters on like the knuckles of your my middle fingers are the ones that wrist. So I already got like a motherfucking blister on my right hand because I guess that's where most of the weight of the controller lies. And then you start developing blisters on the tips of your trigger fingers for the left right. They didn't start appearing for me yet, but motherfucker, it's painful. It's painful to play F-Zero GX this way. I don't know how people like Crazy Game Nerd. I hope that's his motherfucking name. I think it's CGR. I discovered his channel after basically doing the snaking nonsense with my younger brother and Jack. So like other things that you begin to notice is that when you're doing this monotonous left, right, the grip on the GameCube controller isn't the best grip, and it's probably been worn down quite a bit from all the snaking that we were doing at the time, like hours of it. Once you start to slip, your brain freaks the fuck out, or at least mine, and I think they talked about it too, but it's been 6 years ago. I can't fucking remember. But once it starts to slip, you start to panic. You start to snake really quick. You go left, right, because you know your finger is going to slip, and if you let go of that analog to readjust, you're probably going to crash into a fucking wall. And indeed, when I'm playing, I crash into walls. Like, I start to panic, and I lose the snake, because, like, if you snake too fast, your car loses traction. And you'll see that is when it starts to do, like, a drift. but it's not like a hardcore power slide. It's not like going perpendicular to the road. It's just a little bit. You lose a fuck ton of speed if you lose that amount of traction and you don't go into a drift, because you're doing it too quick. Or obviously you do it too quick, or you hit a wall because you're slipping. But man, it's just, if you haven't played F-Zero games, like, it doesn't matter which one, I have to say GX is the fucking greatest racing game of all time. Or at least the one that I've put the most hours into, and I mean a fuck ton of hours. So clearly I must like it. I've never experienced what I'm about to explain before, and I'm sure people experience it differently. Maybe it's the monotonousness of the task. But I remember experiencing it to an extreme degree when I was doing this stuff 6 years ago or whatever it was. Maybe it was even longer. It's this like state of like clarity and hyper focus, and I got it a few times when I was playing it tonight, near the end of the session, when my hands became so fucking fatigued. Like, it fatigues you. But once I started getting to that point of like, oh, my body's starting to remember this, my hands are starting to remember this, you get into this state where you just like, everything else like melts away. It's like this, it's extreme hyper focus. I don't know how to explain it. It's extreme hyper focus where you feel that you're the car, and your body starts going left and right with the car as well. It's just, I don't know how to explain it. It's like you feel one with it, and I've never in my life felt like that before. I mean, obviously 6 years ago, that's when I felt it the first time, but when I felt it again recently, it blew my mind because it immediately reminded me of the feeling. It's such an extensive feeling, or I really can't put it into words. Maybe masters of certain crafts, or people that are like god tier at like speed running or playing like a sport, they get that like moment of utter clarity. I don't know. And I know it sounds pathetic, but I've only experienced that basically really in the prime of the competition between my younger brother and Jack. It's like a weird feeling. You feel so good when it hits. Like you know what's going, you know what's coming, you know, okay, left and then right, and then left and then right. It's so monotonous, but you get into a groove. A groove is how it best way to explain it, I guess. It's like a groove. You feel like an actual snake. And obviously like the name, you're going left and right, but like, I don't know, you feel like an actual snake. It's so crazy. And I know this story really isn't meant for everyone or anyone, really. My 90-some subscribers probably don't want to hear about this. But, you know, it's a good waste of time, I guess. You know, if you wanted to have just this going on in the background and hear a story about some mediocre artist that can't get anything going in the real world, remembering some depressing story of one of his better friends. Hell, he was probably a best friend of mine at some point. And just going back to a memory like of playing F-Zero GX. It's probably the hardest I've ever played on a video game at, I guess. I don't know. Like, I've played a fuck ton of video games in my time, and it's that degeneracy and all that. And I've played competitive video games, and I've played ranked video games. But nothing compares to that feeling. Going against those two people. Maybe it was because they were people that, like, I cared about. You know, obviously my younger brother, I love him with all my heart. And Jack was my best friend, probably at the time. He was. And, you know, we never got angry at each other. It was always like a good time. Like, we would laugh and we make some shitty jokes at each other's expense, but we never got angry. And, you know, I've never felt that way about a competitive thing. I just popped the blister that I just formed on my middle finger from playing. Oops, that's fucking disgusting. Ugh. But like when I play like some competitive games, like Overwatch or like anything that's got a competitive mode, like I get angry sometimes. I mean, I'm sure everyone gets angry, but like I've never got angry with F-Zero GX, and I think that was probably the best video game that I've ever been at. in a competitive sense, at least. I know this is kind of winding down, but I just remembered some stupid story relating to all of this, and it might not be interesting for you guys to hear it, but like I wanted to like record it so that I can always remember. Same thing with this video going on that you're like probably not enjoying, but it's for me to like have some video reference of the times that Jack got on the courses and times Deatho, which is my younger brother, got on the courses, or Pixbane got on the courses. It's just for me to remember these, as something to go back to, and I guess it'd be an allegory for you guys as well. But I remember like the first time of 2 times I've ever had 5-hour energy in my life was at like 12 midnight or something like late, ungodly late. And Jack, my younger brother, and we went to fucking Denny's after playing F-Zero for a bit. And I don't remember. I got something stupid, and my brother got something stupid. But Jack ordered something like this huge plate of like cheesy fries, even though they don't have cheesy fries. He's like, "You guys, can you just like melt some cheese on fries?" And they're like, "Okay." And they gave him this ungodly fucking plate of cheesy fries. It was so fucking disgusting, and he couldn't eat them all, and he ended up throwing them away. And he was like, "Oh man, these are fucking awful." Jack was kind of a jackass. Not a lot of people liked him to be around him, sadly. I mean, he had that like abrasive like attitude, but he was, once you got past that, he was like a really nice guy. He had a heart of fucking gold. Like he was always there for you, but he was a jackass on the outside. I think that was just a way to like cope with the world, because I'm kind of the same way. Like I'm a huge fucking shit lord at first glance, but underneath the surface, I at least think I'm half as decent as Jack was. But yeah, we left, and like he had the cheesy fries in this like fucking container to go, and he just threw them. Just fucking threw them out. And he was like, "You know what? Let's go fucking back and play some more fucking F-Zero," or something like that. And so the first time I was like, "Oh man, I'm fucking tired as shit." And he's like, "Fuck, we're gonna get you a 5-hour energy," or something like that. So we went to the Circle K, and he bought me a fucking 5-hour energy, and my brother got some soda or whatnot, but he fucking bought me a 5-hour energy, drank that shit, and we stayed up fucking playing F-Zero until it was fucking morning. It was like light came up, we were fucking playing that shit nonstop. I couldn't beat his times because it was like when we were first doing this, like one of the first times doing that. Like they were doing so well, and I was having a good time. But like, man, I couldn't sleep. My sleep schedule was fucked for the longest time. Because, that's like the first time I've ever had like something like an energy shot like that. This is a complete non sequitur, but the second time I ever had 5-hour energy, the last time I ever had it was, let's say like a year or 2 after that. I was playing a lot of Toho 6, embodiment of the Scarlet Devil. And I was trying to beat the game on hard or lunatic. But before that, obviously I had to beat it on medium. So I was like getting really close to beating it on medium, and I was getting fucking tired. I was like, "Motherfucker, I gotta do this today." So I went out and got a 5-hour energy and just fucking beasted through Scarlet Devil. And once again, the sun came up, and it was like, look, I've been playing all night, but I fucking finally did it. I beat Scarlet Devil with no continues. Oh man, on medium. It was fucking amazing. It was like probably like second best achievement of my life, but it still pales in comparison to playing F-Zero GX with those two guys. So that's basically my story. I hope you got something out of it. I have other stories, but they're not as cool. It's basically from me, I guess. If you guys have any stories like this, or if you guys played F-Zero GX, like just tell me like what times you got. If you ever started snaking, if you ever did power sliding stuff, if you did anything as I talked about, if you can relate to the fucking blisters playing fucking F-Zero or anything like that. Just tell me whatever. Talk to me about stuff, and I'll talk to you guys, because small audience, I can basically talk to any of you guys. I hope you guys have a good evening, rest of your day, whatever it may be. Pixbane signing off.